Sadr City is a suburb district of the city of Baghdad, Iraq. It was built in 1959 by Prime Minister Abdul Karim Qasim and later unofficially renamed Sadr City after Ayatollah Muhammad Sadq al-Sadr. Sadr City, or more accurately Thawra district, is one of 9 administrative districts in Baghdad. A public housing project neglected by Saddam Hussein. Sadr City holds around 1 million residents. Sadr City was built in Iraq in 1959 by Prime Minister Abdul Karim Qasim in response to grave housing shortages in Baghdad, at the time named Revolution City. It provided housing for Baghdad's urban poor, many of whom had come from the countryside and who had until then lived in appalling conditions. Nazi al-Dulami was instrumental in turning the vast slums of eastern Baghdad into a massive public works and housing project that came to be known as Revolution City. It quickly became a stronghold of the Iraqi Communist Party, with resistance to the Ba'athist-led coup of 1963 becoming prevalent within the city itself. The development was devised by the Greek planner Konstantinos Apostolou Doxiadis, who also designed Islamabad and Riyadh. In 1982, the district was renamed Saddam City. In the 1980s, the district became known for poverty and communist organizing, with illegal documents and, in some cases, people themselves being hidden from the authorities in overflowing septic tanks. The proliferation of communism in the district is ironic, given how Doxiadis's design had been considered anti-communist, with the view that it promoted a village atmosphere in an effort to ease the transition of rural migrants to the city. After the foreign occupation of Baghdad in April 2003, the district was unofficially renamed Sadr City after deceased Shiite leader Muhammad Sadq al-Sadr in April 2003. The U.S. Army 2D Squadron, 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment established their headquarters at the abandoned Sumer cigarette factory located on the eastern side of Sadr City. In honor of the history of the factory, the military named their new Camp Marlborough. During the fall and winter of 2003, American forces focused on rebuilding civilian infrastructure and training local leaders in democracy. District and neighborhood councils were established, giving the residents of Sadr City representation in the new Iraqi government. The municipal building became the centerpiece of the reconstruction effort, and it was the site of a forward outpost of American soldiers that met daily with council members and citizens. Progress was slowed due to escalating tensions and violence, and attacks against the American military increased significantly in late 2003. On October 9, 2003, the Mahdi army in Sadr City ambushed an American convoy, inflicting multiple casualties. The combat patrol, made up of vehicles from the two halves ACR, was attacked by approximately 100 men with several improvised explosive devices, RPGs and automatic weapons fire from the surrounding rooftops and streets, killing and injuring soldiers from ATRP 2 halves ACR. The Mahdi army attempted to capture several soldiers during the ambush, but they were ultimately unsuccessful in their efforts to obtain hostages. On November 9, 2003, a violent confrontation erupted between the chairman of the district council, elements of the 2D ACR, and a team from the 490th Civil Affairs Battalion. The chairman refused to surrender a pistol during security screening and was shot by an American soldier during a shoving match. The death of the chairman caused a serious setback to reconstruction efforts and led to increased violence. Throughout March 2004 through July 2004, by in horse, in Sadr City, elements of the 1st Brigade Combat Team and the 13th Signal Battalion were hit almost daily with mortars and RPGs. TF Lancer was located at FOB War Eagle, northern side of Sadr City. There was no American media in the area to report the multiple mortar and RPG fire which hit both FOBs almost daily. In late March 2004, Task Force Lancer, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Gary Volsky, arrived at Camp War Eagle on the northeast corner of Sadr City, to assume responsibility for the governance and security of Sadr City. Task Force Lancer consisted primarily of the 2nd Battalion, 5th Cavalry Regiment from the 1st Brigade, 1st Cavalry Division under the command of Colonel Robert B. Abrams. On April 4, 2004, the Mahdi Army ambushed a U.S. Army patrol in Sadr City, killing 8 American soldiers and wounding 57 more. This sparked fierce urban fighting between the Mahdi Army and newly arrived soldiers of the B. Company 20th Engineer Battalion 2-5, C Battery 1-82 Field Artillery, 2-8 and 1-12 Cav of the 1st Cavalry Division, alongside the just relieved 1st Squadron, 2D Armored Cavalry Regiment and elements from 2-37 of the 1st Armored Division. In late 2004, the Mahdi Army enacted a ceasefire with U.S. troops and offered to help repair and rebuild the city's main infrastructure, which was leaving.